Paris, midnight, August 31st, 1997. The world knows this tunnel, the Pont de l'Alma underpass, a concrete ribcage carved beneath the Seine, a place where headlights smear into neon, where sound echoes strangely, where a Mercedes S280 carrying the most photographed woman on earth hit a pillar at more than 90 miles per hour. The world called it a tragedy. Others called it something darker.
And then a rumour surfaced.
One that MI6 could never fully bury. A former British intelligence officer testified, under oath, that MI6 once drafted a plan to stage a car crash in a foreign capital. Not for Diana.
For a Cold War target. The operation was never executed.
But the blueprint existed. When Diana died in a tunnel, in a car crash, while being monitored by paparazzi, conspiracy theories found oxygen, because the blueprint, even if ancient, was suddenly relevant. And that's where this story begins. Not with a princess, but with a plan someone wrote decades earlier, a plan that should never have seen daylight. The official timeline is clinical 0019. Diana and Dodi Fayed leave the Ritz. 0023. Their Mercedes enters the Place de la Concorde. 0025. Paparazzi swarm. 0026. Driver accelerates to escape. 0027. The car enters the Alma tunnel. 0027:30. Impact. 0028. Silence. French investigators conclude speed plus alcohol plus pursuit equals fatal accident. The British response was the same.
But the conspiracy didn't emerge from tabloids.
It came from three sources embedded deeply within the intelligence world. 1. Diana's own recorded fears that she was being watched. 2. Mohammed Al-Fayed's years-long campaign alleging intelligence involvement. 3. And the most dangerous, a real MI6 Cold War operation written in the 1980s, outlining how to kill a target by manipulating a vehicle into a fatal collision. The public didn't know about that final detail until 2007. When it surfaced, the rumour stopped being noise. It became a question. Diana was not a normal royal. She was unpredictable. She had global influence. She was emotionally candid in ways the monarchy feared. And after her divorce, she was free. Too free. Throughout 1996 and 1997, she told friends she felt watched, followed, monitored. She wrote a note to her butler, now infamous, claiming someone was planning an accident in my car. She didn't name MI6. She didn't name the royal family, but she believed a crash would be used to silence her. People dismissed her fears as anxiety, but the intelligence world operates on perception, not truth. If a target believes they're being followed, they behave like they're being followed.
And Diana behaved like a person under surveillance.
She checked mirrors. She changed routes. She called journalists late at night. She spoke openly about government pressure. Her emotional state became the conspiracy's first foundation. Her fame became the second, and then came the third. Her relationship with Dodi Fayed, son of a billionaire with contentious ties to London. And that single detail lit the fuse. The rumour would have stayed a rumour if not for one man, Richard Tomlinson, former MI6 officer, dismissed from service, angry, disillusioned, but informed. During the British inquest into Diana's death, he testified to something explosive, that MI6 had planned a similar operation in the 1980s, not against Diana.
Not in Paris.
Against a Balkan political figure, and the goal, force a car crash inside a tunnel, use a bright flash to blind the driver, make it look accidental. Tomlinson claimed he had seen the file himself. He recognized the method, and he suggested, carefully, legally, that the crash in the Alma tunnel resembled the structure of that abandoned plan. MI6 denied everything.
The Foreign Office dismissed him as a disgruntled ex-employee. But the damage was done.
Because intelligence services rarely deny loudly unless something is sensitive, and the public took notice.
Cold forensic mode.
If an intelligence agency wanted a car crash to look accidental, they would use a confined, unforgiving environment. Tunnels, bridges, underpasses. visual disruption, a flash device, a light pulse, or even a sudden obstruction. Distraction through pursuit, paparazzi, motorbikes, or provocateurs. A vehicle already compromised. Arrow tire pressure, steering mechanisms, braking lines, small mechanical flaws unnoticed at high speed. The crash at the Alma tunnel checks all of these structural boxes. A tunnel, a column, speed, pursuit, a driver with impaired judgment, a princess without a seatbelt, a swarm of images captured before and after but never during. It's not evidence of conspiracy. But it is symmetry. And symmetry is the fuel of rumour. Add the MI6 plan, and the conspiracy becomes almost self-writing. When something happens that shouldn't happen, intelligence officers ask one thing: who benefits? Did MI6 have a motive? Not a direct one, but the rumour persists because of the indirect ones people speculate about. Diana's activism against landmines, her global popularity overshadowing the monarchy, her friendship with businessmen outside the UK political orbit, her increasing independence from royal constraints, her potential engagement to Dodi Fayed. None of these are motives for assassination, but all of them created narratives that conspiracy theorists could stitch into a single picture. It's not that the picture is accurate, it's that the fragments exist, and fragments are all a conspiracy needs. Here's the quiet truth the public never liked. The paparazzi made the intelligence theories more believable. Dozens of motorbikes chasing a car through Paris is cinematic, chaotic, operatic. To the untrained eye, it looks like a pursuit. To the conspiracy theorist, it looks like cover. And to a professional intelligence officer, it looks like the perfect camouflage. Because a staged crash doesn't require an agent to ram the car. It only requires the target to believe they're escaping something. Paranoia does the rest. The paparazzi weren't just photographers, they were narrative accelerants, whether they meant to be or not. The Alma tunnel is a brutal piece of architecture. Narrow lanes, concrete columns, harsh lighting, angled entry, little reaction time. If you designed a fatal accident, this is where you would test it. Experts said it. Journalists said it. Conspiracy theorists screamed it. The location fit the MI6 blueprint too perfectly, and the world noticed. And that's why people didn't move on. That's why the rumour metastasized. That's why MI6 had to answer questions they didn't want to answer, even if the answer was, no, not us, not this time. The structure of the crash, not the cause, kept the theory alive. Because the crash didn't just kill a princess, it created a myth. In 2008, after a decade of speculation, a British inquest delivered its verdict: unlawful killing due to gross negligence of the driver and pursuing paparazzi. Not MI6, not the royal family, not a staged assassination. But here's why the conspiracy didn't die. Because the inquest confirmed the existence of the MI6 crash plan memo, even while saying it had nothing to do with Diana. Imagine hearing that. Yes, MI6 had a plan to create a staged car crash. Yes, it involved a bright flash in a tunnel. Yes, the target was foreign. Yes, the file existed. But no, it has nothing to do with this. For many people, that explanation was too neat, too convenient, too official. And official explanations, even when true, rarely satisfy an audience raised on secrecy. Here's the cold truth, the forensic truth. MI6 had no operational motive. The royal family did not control MI6. There was no political logic in eliminating Diana, no national interest, no shadow agenda. The intelligence world has done dark things, but killing the mother of the future king, it doesn't fit the calculus. But logic doesn't kill conspiracy theories. Emotion does. Loss does. Silence does. The more official voices insisted the crash was an accident, the more the rumour hardened, because in the absence of certainty, people build their own. Some stories end. This one loops, because the ingredients are perfect: a beloved global icon, a foreign romance, a speeding car, a dark tunnel, a real MI6 memo, a dismissed agent warning of similarities, a world suspicious of government secrecy, and a death that felt too sudden, too violent, too unfair. Conspiracies grow where trauma lives. And Diana's death is still trauma, collective, unresolved, unacceptable. So here's the uncomfortable question. If MI6 wasn't responsible for Diana's crash, what other Cold War operations did they plan and bury that we still don't know about? Because the staged crash was only one file.
There are others.
The operation that never happened in Moscow.
The assassination attempt that vanished from archives in Prague. The rumor about 006, the real one, who disappeared without ceremony.
Those shadows tell their own story. And in the next video, we're going into one of them. Some rumors fade. Some rumors burn out. But the most dangerous rumors, they're the ones that begin with a tiny grain of truth. A document that shouldn't exist. A testimony that wasn't meant to be public. A similarity too sharp to ignore. Diana's death was a tragedy, but the rumor surrounding it, that was something else. A shadow the intelligence world has never fully escaped, because when secrecy is your business, silence is never proof of innocence, only absence.